She got caught cheating and her first words were, "This is your fault for not giving me enough attention." I replied, "You're absolutely right." Then I gave her all the attention she deserved, from my attorney, the locksmith, and the process server. Her shock when she realized what I meant. I, 38 male, came home early from a business trip last Thursday. Flight got canceled due to weather, rebooked on an earlier one. Didn't text my wife because I figured I'd surprise her with dinner from that Thai place she loves. The surprise was on me. Walked into my own bedroom at 4:47 p.m. to find my wife of 11 years with her personal trainer. In our bed. The bed I bought. The sheets I picked out because she said she didn't care about thread count. She apparently cared about something, just not thread count. For about 3 seconds nobody moved. Her personal trainer, a guy maybe 10 years younger than me who I'd been paying $200 a session for twice a week, scrambled for his clothes like the house was on fire. My wife just sat there, sheet pulled up, looking at me like I was the one who'd done something wrong. "Get out," I said to him. Calm, weirdly calm, like my brain had disconnected from the situation and was watching from somewhere else. He didn't need to be told twice. Grabbed his stuff and practically ran past me. I heard the front door slam about 15 seconds later. Then it was just us. 11 years of marriage. 2 kids, thank God they were at our mother's. A house, a life, a future I thought we were building together. She opened her mouth and I expected tears, apologies, begging, something. Instead she said, "This is your fault." I blinked. "Excuse me? You heard me? This is your fault for not giving me enough attention. You're always working, always traveling. When's the last time you actually looked at me? When's the last time you made me feel wanted?" The audacity. The absolute audacity of this woman. I could have screamed, could have thrown things, could have done any number of things that would have given her ammunition to use against me later. But something clicked in my brain, a cold, clear calculation. "You're absolutely right," I said. She blinked. "Wasn't expecting that. I haven't been giving you enough attention. That changes today." Then I turned around and walked out of the bedroom. Heard her calling after me, confused, asking what I meant. I didn't answer. Just got in my car and drove to the nearest hotel, checked in, sat on the bed and started making calls. First call, a divorce attorney my buddy from college had used. Left a message explaining the situation, asked for the earliest possible consultation. Second call, a locksmith who did emergency services. Scheduled him for 8 a.m. the next morning when I knew my wife would be dropping the kids at school. Third call, my brother, asking if I could crash at his place for a few days while I figured things out. Then I sat there in that hotel room, ate cold Thai food alone and planned exactly how much attention my wife was about to receive. Update 1, 5 days later. The locksmith came Friday morning at 8:03 a.m. By 8:47, every lock in the house was changed. New deadbolts, new garage code, everything. Cost me $475, but worth every penny. Quick legal note because I know someone's gonna ask. Yes, I can do this. The house is in my name only, purchased before the marriage with inheritance money from my grandmother. My wife's name was never added to the deed. My attorney confirmed I was within my rights to secure my property, especially given the circumstances. My wife figured out something was wrong around 11 a.m. when she came home from wherever she'd been, probably with him, and her key didn't work. My phone exploded. Why won't my key work? Did you change the locks? Are you serious, Ern? You can't do this. This is my home too. Answer me. I didn't respond. Everything through attorneys now, that was my rule. She showed up at my brother's place around 2 p.m., pounding on the door, crying, demanding to talk. My brother opened the door. He's not here, and even if he was, he doesn't want to talk to you. This is insane. I'm his wife. He can't just lock me out. Pretty sure catching you with another dude in your bed gives him some options. She went pale. Didn't realize my brother knew. Probably didn't realize anyone knew yet. That's not what happened. He's exaggerating. Sis, I've known my brother for 38 years. He doesn't exaggerate. If he says he caught you, he caught you. She left after that, but not before screaming that I was going to regret this and that she'd take everything. Monday morning, 9 a.m. sharp, my attorney sent her the divorce papers. Not through mail, through a process server who showed up at her mother's house where she'd been staying. The attention had officially begun. Her mother called me 20 minutes later. "What is wrong with you? You're divorcing her over one mistake?" "With respect, ma'am, I'm not discussing this with you." "She's devastated. The kids are confused. You're tearing this family apart." She tore this family apart when she decided our bed was community property for her fitness instructor. Silence. "Then, she told me you'd been distant, that you drove her to this. Did she also tell you I've been working 60-hour weeks to pay for the house she lives in, the car she drives, the trainer she was sleeping with, and the private school she insisted our kids attend? That kind of distant?" More silence. "I thought not. Please don't call me again. My attorney's information is in the divorce papers if you need to pass along any messages." I hung up, feeling nothing, numb. The anger would come later, I knew. Right now, I was operating on pure autopilot. The real drama started when she got a lawyer and realized she wasn't getting what she expected. See, my wife hadn't worked in 8 years. She quit her marketing job when our first kid was born, which I supported. But somewhere along the line, staying home with the kids became staying home while the kids were at school. Became staying home while a nanny watched the kids, so she could go to spin class and get personal training and have lunch with friends. I didn't begrudge her the lifestyle. I made good money. I could afford it. But that same lifestyle she'd gotten used to? That came with an assumption. She assumed that in a divorce, she'd get half of everything plus alimony, plus child support, plus the house. Her attorney's first demand letter was almost funny. She wanted the house, my premarital property, not happening, $8,500 per month in spousal support, full custody of the kids, me to pay her legal fees, half my retirement accounts. My attorney's response was 4 pages of legal citations explaining why most of that wasn't happening. Her second demand letter included a new claim. I had abandoned the marital home and was therefore the one at fault. I had time-stamped photos of her and her trainer in my bed, pulled from our home security cameras I'd forgotten were even running. Sent those to my attorney, who sent them to her attorney. Third demand letter was much more reasonable. Update 2, 3 weeks later. Things got dirty. Real dirty. My wife, my soon-to-be ex, apparently decided that if she couldn't win legally, she'd win socially. She started telling everyone who'd listen that I was emotionally abusive and that the affair was self-defense against my controlling behavior. Her sister called me a narcissist. In a voicemail I saved for my records, her best friend texted me that I deserved what I got for neglecting such an amazing woman. Her mother sent me a letter, an actual physical letter, outlining all the ways I had failed as a husband and suggesting I examine my own behavior before casting stones. I didn't respond to any of it. Just forwarded everything to my attorney, who documented the pattern of harassment. But the real escalation came when she tried to turn the kids against me. My daughter came back from a weekend at her grandmother's house and asked me, "Daddy, did you hit Mommy?" My blood went cold. What? No, absolutely not. Who told you that? Grandma said Mommy left because you were mean to her. I knelt down to her level. Sweetie, I have never and would never hurt your mother. Mommy and Daddy are having grown-up problems, but none of it is your fault, and I have never been violent. Okay? She nodded, but I could see the confusion. The doubt. Someone was poisoning my kids against me, and I knew exactly who. Called my attorney. Emergency motion filed the next morning restricting my mother-in-law from discussing the divorce or making disparaging comments about either parent in front of the children. Standard stuff, apparently. It sent a message. My wife's response? Showing up at my office. I was in a meeting with a client when my assistant buzzed in. "Sir, your wife is here. She says it's urgent." I excused myself, stepped outside. There she was, looking disheveled, like she hadn't slept. "We need to talk. In private." "I've told you, everything goes through attorneys." "Screw the attorneys. I want to talk to my husband." "I'm not your husband anymore. Not emotionally, and soon not legally." "You're being cruel. I made a mistake. One mistake in 11 years. Was it a mistake when you blamed me for it? When you said it was my fault for not giving you enough attention?" She had the grace to look away. I was scared. I didn't mean it. "You meant every word. And you know what? You were right. I wasn't giving you enough attention. So now I'm correcting that. My attorney is paying very close attention to you. My locksmith paid attention to the house. The process server paid attention to your location. You're getting all the attention you deserve. You're enjoying this." Her voice was bitter now. "You're actually enjoying destroying our family." "I'm not enjoying anything. But I'm also not going to pretend you're the victim here. You made a choice. Multiple choices, actually. Given that the affair had been going on for 3 months, according to my trainer's very apologetic confession when I threatened to sue him for breach of contract." Her face went white. "He told you everything, including that you initiated it, including that you talked about leaving me, including that you told him I was too boring and too focused on money and that you deserved more excitement." She didn't have a response to that. "Leave my office, now, or I call security." She left, but not before hissing, "I'll make sure you never see those kids." Wrong move. I documented everything. The threat, the witnesses, my assistant and a coworker had heard, the pattern of behavior. My attorney filed for primary custody based on parental alienation attempts and documented hostility. The custody evaluator was appointed 2 weeks later. This is where things got interesting. See, my wife had been claiming I was never there for the kids. Always working, always traveling, barely involved. But I had 11 years of receipts. Every soccer game I'd attended, all of them, according to my calendar. Every parent-teacher conference, every school play, every recital, every doctor's appointment. I'd kept my calendar meticulously because my job required it. And now that same evidence proved I wasn't the absent father she'd been painting me as. Meanwhile, the custody evaluator discovered that my wife couldn't name our daughter's teacher, didn't know our son's pediatrician, and hadn't attended a single school event in the past year without me. The devoted mother narrative crumbled pretty quick. Update 3 final, 2 months later. The divorce finalized last Tuesday. Took about 4 months total, which my attorney said was fast for a contested divorce with kids. Here's what happened. The house. I kept it. The judge agreed it was premarital property purchased with inherited funds. My wife's attorneys tried to argue she'd contributed to its maintenance and value, but they couldn't produce any evidence of significant contributions. She got nothing from the house. Spousal support. This one hurt. Despite the adultery, the judge awarded her transitional alimony for 3 years at $2,800 a month. The reasoning was that she'd been out of the workforce for 8 years and needed time to rehabilitate her career. I was angry, but my attorney reminded me that, in many states, adultery doesn't even factor into alimony. At least it was time-limited. Child support. Standard calculation based on our incomes and custody arrangement. About $1,400 a month. Fair enough. Those are my kids and I want them provided for, regardless of what their mother did. Custody. This was the big win. I got primary custody. Joint legal decision-making, but the kids live with me, and she gets every other weekend plus Wednesday dinners. The custody evaluator's report was damning. It detailed the parental alienation attempts, the grandmother's interference, and the general instability of my wife's living situation. She was still bouncing between her mother's house and her sister's apartment. Retirement. We split the portions accumulated during the marriage, 50-50. Lost about $89,000 from my 401k. That stung. But it was marital property, and the law is the law. Her trainer, she's still seeing him apparently. He got fired from the gym after I filed a formal complaint. Not because of the affair, they can't fire someone for that, but because he'd been sleeping with clients, and it violated their code of conduct. She blames me for ruining his career. I did not lose sleep over this. The final court date was anticlimactic. Both attorneys presented their cases. The judge issued the ruling. My wife cried. Her mother glared at me from the gallery. And then it was over. Walking out of that courthouse, I waited for some feeling of triumph. Victory, vindication, it didn't come. Instead, I just felt tired. 11 years of my life, 2 kids who were going to be shuttling between households, a marriage that ended because my wife decided she deserved more excitement. Her mother cornered me in the parking lot. I hope you're happy. You've destroyed her. Ma'am, I didn't do anything but respond to what she did. She destroyed herself. She's a good person who made a mistake. Good people don't blame their victims for their own choices. Good people don't try to turn their children against their father. Good people don't threaten to make sure I never see those kids. Your daughter made her choices. I made mine. I got in my car and drove home. My home, the one I kept. Aftermath. 1 month post-divorce. My wife moved in with her trainer. Lasted about 3 weeks before she was back at her mother's. Turns out the excitement she wanted didn't include paying bills or living in a studio apartment. Who knew? She's applied for a few marketing jobs, but apparently 8 years out of the workforce, plus a public affairs scandal, makes employers nervous. Last I heard, she's working part-time at a retail store while taking some online courses to update her skills. The alimony helps her, I'm sure, but $2,800 doesn't go far when you're used to $15,000 a month in household spending. She's had to sell her car, the one I bought her, downgrade her phone plan, and cancel all those fitness memberships she was so fond of. Her trainer moved away after losing his job, didn't even say goodbye to her according to mutual friends. The exciting guy who was worth throwing away her marriage? Gone the second things got complicated. As for me, I'm adjusting. The kids are handling it okay, kids are resilient, and I'm doing everything I can to keep their lives stable. They have their own rooms at my house, their same school, their same friends. When they're with their mother, they sleep in her childhood bedroom at their grandmother's house. I'm not dating. Don't want to. Maybe someday, but right now I'm focused on being a good dad and rebuilding my own sense of self. Therapy's helping with that. My wife texted me last week. First direct contact since the divorce. I know you hate me, but I want you to know I'm sorry. Really sorry. Not just for what I did, but for how I handled it. I was wrong to blame you. I was wrong to try to hurt you. I'm working on myself. I read it 3 times. Part of me wanted to respond with something bitter. Something cutting. Remind her of every lie, every manipulation, every attempt to turn our kids against me. Instead, I just replied, I hope you mean that. For the kids' sake. That's all I had to give her. Maybe that makes me cold. Maybe it makes me realistic. But I spent 4 months watching her try to destroy me, blame me, manipulate the system against me. One text message doesn't erase that. The attention she said she needed? She got it. Just not the kind she expected. For everyone reading this going through something similar, document everything. Keep your cool. Play the long game. The legal system isn't always fair, and you're probably going to lose some battles. I lost almost 90 calories from my retirement. I'm paying alimony to a woman who cheated on me. Those things burn. But I kept my house. I have my kids most of the time, and I can look at myself in the mirror knowing I handled this with integrity. She can't say the same. More great content is coming. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out.